As I just mentioned, I'm Roxana Chen, and I lead the evaluation for Communities of Opportunity. And for the next probably about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to provide an overview about this mini grant opportunity that's for evaluating COO systems and policy change work. This funding opportunity is specifically for the currently funded systems and policy change partners under Communities of Opportunity. So just restating that. So what we'll cover in my slide deck before we head into the Q&A portion is just a quick overview about Communities of Opportunity. And then the most important part is I'll cover what's included and expected from the request for proposals for this mini grant, which includes the criteria, how we're going to be scoring in our review for these mini grants, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So hopefully those of you who are joining the call are already well familiar with Communities of Opportunity. It's an initiative that is funded under the Best Starts for Kids initiative. And our primary focus is investing in building and strengthening community power. And COO seeks to do that through investments in 3 different strategies, which is its community partnerships, in the systems and policy change cohort through Seattle Foundation, and through its learning community strategy. And so it basically seeks to do this through community-led, community-driven solutions that try to get at structural change for equity. Ultimately, what COO is hoping to do by investing in community power is that we'll see changes in economic opportunities, in housing, in community connections, and in health, so that we have a healthy and thriving King County for all. And so this just outlines what COO's headline indicators are by COO's 4 result areas. And so bringing it back home to the systems and policy change folks, I just wanted to share the accomplishments that we've seen so far from the systems and policy change folks. And this is based on the past 2 years of reporting for this part of the Best Starts levy so far. And we've seen that there is a lot that has happened. I won't read all of these numbers out loud, but it's just to give you a sense of a lot of the accomplishments that have happened in terms of building community power among our systems and policy change partners. A lot of community engagement activities have happened and people have been engaged. A lot of work has gone into building people's capacities, as well as building informal and formal relationships that can further folks' equity goals. As a result of these engagement, capacity building, this base building and mobilizing organizing work, a lot of community partners have been developed. And as a result of it, we've seen 37 policies changed, 8 systems changed, as well as 4 environments changed. So I imagine this is why people are on the call. This funding opportunity is a mini grant evaluation opportunity open to COO systems and policy change partners. And the purpose of this is to fund short-term discrete outcome impact evaluation projects. So what we're looking for is projects that include some sort of outcome impact evaluation that are achievable within a relatively short time span of 6 to 12 months. The reason why we're launching these grants is our systems and policy change partners. We know that with limitations in funding, evaluation often is not something where there is enough to fund what you would like to be able to fund regarding evaluating your outcomes. And so we're hoping that by launching these mini grants, you have an opportunity to identify what is some sort of discrete outcome impact evaluation for your project. We have a total budgeted of about $200,000 for all of the mini grants total. What is most relevant for you as a potential applicant is that you can request up to $9,999 in your budget for an evaluation project. And so this basically reiterates what I just said with some key time points in it. So for an application, you can request up to 9999, and we're expecting to make awards averaging about 6,000. It really comes down to what is being proposed in the project and if it seems realistic and reasonable. An important date to recognize is that the application due date is November 10th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Apologies, that's not noted right here in this bullet point. And we tentatively hope we're going to have a very fast review period and hope to be able to notify folks of awards about a week and a half or so after the application deadline. In order for us to be able to get money out the door sooner than later, we're hoping that we can have letters of agreements in place starting in December. And we're hoping to make about 20 to 30 awards total for this entire evaluation mini grant opportunity, not just singularly for this round. It fully depends on how many applications we get in this first round for systems and policy change folks. This slide here basically outlines all of the key dates. So the RFP was released a little over a week ago. We had our first info session last week, which I recognize a lot of folks had difficulty attending, which is why we have this second information session. We do want to alert you to an opportunity to take advantage of technical assistance support that you can request from Best Starts through their technical assistance and capacity building strategy. So the deadline to request technical assistance would be October 30th. And so that's later this week. If you have any questions about this grant opportunity, you need to contact King County with any questions by November 5th. And as I said earlier, the application due date will be Monday, November 10th at 5 p.m. I've included in here our review period. We're hoping to turn this around in 3 days so that we can notify folks by November 20th. And as I just mentioned, we're hoping to have letter of agreement discussions and have that issued sometime in early December so that we can get these launched at the end of the year with the first deliverable due ideally December 19th. And that would be something as I guess, preliminary as a work plan. All right, so this is, in addition to knowing the deadline of this funding opportunity, November 10th, is knowing what are we asking of you. So I've outlined here what the application questions are. And as you can see, it's pretty much focused on what is your evaluation project. So please include what are your evaluation questions? What is it that you want to evaluate the outcome or impact of? And how do you plan to do this? And then just philosophically, we're wanting to understand how this project connects with your organization and COO's goals. And from a pragmatic standpoint, wanting to understand what you hope to gain by doing this evaluation project. For example, do you hope to be able to share these outcome results with not just COO, but other folks? We're hoping from a pragmatic level that any project deliverables is something that you can also share with others to let them know about your successes and accomplishments. Along with outlining your evaluation project is hearing about your staffing and supports. What do you already have in your organization or partnership to do what you're proposing to do? Do you need to contract out or purchase additional resources? Because then these would be considerations in your budget as well. And then end results and products. We want to hear about your project deliverables. What final products do you hope to result from your project? This could be anywhere from a final report and presentation, any sort of visuals, graphics that you would share with us and other stakeholders, and hearing about the ways you intend to use these results and projects of your evaluation project. Grounding this to make sure that this can happen within 6 to 12 months is outlining a basic work plan or timeline for your evaluation project. And so again, just reiterating that the timeline that we're wanting to see this work done and completed is anywhere between a 6 to 12 month period. And then lastly, just sketching out your budget for this funding. So we note in here that as a part of your budget, include requested items and make sure that your budget doesn't exceed $9,999. Also note with budget, this includes like staffing, any monies that you hope to spend if you want to contract out for this work. So adding any supplies that you need. These are all different logistics that would go into your budget. So that's the long and short of it. And so before we move into Q&A, I just wanted to reiterate some tips. Make sure that your proposal is clear on what your evaluation questions are. The point of this funding is to capture outcomes or impact, and ask yourself, is the timeline for your proposed project realistic? So we're not looking for an ambitious, you're going to evaluate all the things. This is meant to be a short-term discrete project that can be done within a year's time frame. And then in your budget, like I said, does your budget account for things like contractors, stipends, software or other resources that you may need? And make sure that your budget is scaled to work within a 1-year period. Just to share some examples of potential outcome impact evaluation activities, I just wanted to, I had put in a few bullets of examples, but please know that these are not meant to cover all the possibilities. They're just examples if you need some ideas to seed your own thinking about possible projects. And I put in here ripple effects mapping. This is something that our evaluation advisory group experienced some training to do. And it's a great way to be able to ferret out intended and unintended outcomes. If you have questions about ripple effects mapping, feel free to reach out to me with questions about ripple effects mapping. A classic thing to do would be focus groups or interviews of stakeholders in order to answer the evaluation questions that you have. Other examples include doing photo voice or digital storytelling to capture impact stories. So like I said, this is not a comprehensive list. It's just a few examples to get you thinking about possible projects to consider. So what I'm going to go over next is just share a slide with you about our rating criteria. So please review this, and our review panel will basically be using this rubric for our review. And so these line up pretty much exactly with our application questions. So as long as you answer our application questions, then you'll be in good stead in terms of how our review panel assesses your project. So just make sure that your evaluation plan is clear and that it is an outcome or impact evaluation, that you account for whatever staffing and supports you may need to do this project, and that you clearly articulate what you hope your end products or project deliverables to be. And like I said, we also want to see an activities or timeline for your project and a realistic budget. As I said earlier, when we first launched the info session, is that there is an opportunity for you to request technical assistance through Best Starts. And this is free to you as a Best Starts funded partner through COO. And so, like I said, the deadline to request this assistance is October 30th. And what TA providers can do is to help you figure out, like, is there a fit between your program and what you're proposing to do? Oops, a little too active in hitting that. And they can provide you some guidance on how to approach thinking about the evaluation project that you have in mind. They are here to help support your application review, editing, budget, etc. But we do want to note that the technical assistance is not to do the grant writing, but to help you towards success. And so if you do want to ask for technical assistance, please do that by October 30th and reach out to either of the two evaluation TA providers that we've noted here, which include Dicentra and Crux. And let me see, since I'm sharing screen, I don't know who the participants are. If there is somebody from Dicentra or Crux, I'm going to pause, and if Dicentra or Crux can go off mute and share a bit more about what sort of technical assistance you can provide, that would be super helpful.
Hi, I'm Carol, and I'm representing Dicentra Consulting. And we're really excited to be one of the technical assistance providers for this RFP. We are a small group of four, and we have a lot of expertise in various types of data collection and analysis, and evaluation planning. And Best Arts for Kids has a great lineup of TA providers. But I guess for this particular RFP, we along with Crux are the providers. And as was stated by Roxana, we urge you to reach out earlier rather than later to make the most of the assistance that we can provide. And I'm also happy to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you. Something I also wanted to note, and this came up in the first info session shared by someone on the technical assistance support team, was that in addition to be able to provide guidance on how to think about your evaluation project, the TA providers can also help you think about, are there capacity building supports that you can tap in through Best Starts as a funded partner? So that's an added bonus of being able to work with a Best Starts technical assistance provider, is that they may also be able to help you think through what are additional supports that you can take advantage of for free as a Best Starts partner through the capacity building supports in addition to technical assistance. All right, this slide is actually, next info session is happening right now. Okay, so in terms of questions about this current funding opportunity, if you have any questions, please direct those to King County CPRES, and that would be CPRES, CPRES, -bsk@kingcounty.gov. So any questions specifically about this grant opportunity should be directed to King County CPRES. If you are interested in technical assistance support, please reach out directly to the technical assistance providers, and those are listed on the previous slide. And that would be Dicentra and Crux. And those are also listed on the Best Starts website under their technical assistance capacity building page. And you should reach out to them sooner than later, and ideally by October 30th. And that's it. We can open this up for questions. If anyone on the call has questions they'd like to ask that either I can answer or one of the TA providers or Sarah from CPRES can help answer. Oh, I just see this notification. Debbie, would you like to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, thanks so much, Roxana. Would you say that one of the things that would make a really strong application is for a group to demonstrate evaluation, kind of a deep dive into, for example, a policy that was passed, but really wanting to understand how it happened, and because I'm just wanting some more information about from y'all's perspective. I mean, we can determine what would be the benefits of this kind of evaluation, certainly for us and for future organizing and mobilizing. Is that something also that you all are looking to? Are you wanting to know, like, what kind of efforts and strategies were used that had an impact, potentially unintended consequences and impacts? I mean, is this of value to you as in reviewing the applications?
That's a great question, because in hearing your suggestion, that sounds to me, one, yes, that's valuable. It sounds to me like a learning, a way to capture learnings of the policy work. I wonder if there is an opportunity to have a both and in uh, some of what you share seems like it could be contributing to a case study of when you talk about a deep dive into a particular policy and how did it come about. And maybe I misunderstood you there, but what we'd like to hear is, yes, we are interested in hearing how it came about, um, but I also want to add, I wonder if there's an opportunity to capture um, the both intended and unintended impacts of that of that policy change. So let's say, with Eastside for All, you all have been very successful in a lot of your Eastside policy work related to housing. Um, I wonder if there is a way that you can capture the how, but we also want to know what happened. So what has been the impact that you're able to determine of a particular policy change, or if there is more than one policy change that are so interconnected that it's hard to tease that out. Just making sure that that is folded into whatever you're proposing. I feel like what you're suggesting as my mind is working is it does feel kind of case study-ish, which can be done within that time frame. But the most important thing is that we are interested in hearing about what have been the impacts. The outcome of your work is the policy change, and we would be very interested in hearing about the impacts that resulted from that policy change. Which is not to say that we are not interested in the how. We are very much interested in that. I think my greater concern is just the feasibility within the time frame of doing maybe all the things that you might want to capture in what you're thinking about. Did that answer your question? Sure.
Yes, actually, that was very helpful, and it has me thinking about, with a lot of these are with their recent policy changes. So I just would need to take a look at the timeline and make sure that we're able to, even identify those impacts for newly passed policies. But that's really helpful, Roxana. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for the question. Are there any other questions? Let me see if I can see. I'm going to stop sharing screen because that way I can actually see the chat and participants. Give me a moment here. Oh, okay. Looks like there's a question in the chat and that there's a hand raised. Not sure which came first. I should. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah Cox from CPress King County made a note that when you have questions about this grant opportunity and email them to CPress, please include the RFP number. So there is a solicitation number 2025 BSK 886 RFP, or at the very least include in your email title COO evaluation mini grants. Sarah, you just reminded me that we were notified that some folks had issues with accessing the application. I think the safest bet is when you enter the RFP page and look at that page. And Sarah, could you put the link in to the specific COO evaluation mini grant solicitation, just so people can see that in the chat. When you go into that particular RFP, the application questions are in there. If you can just email your responses to CPress for the application, that would be the safest bet, because we may need to disable the application just to make sure that it doesn't cause problems. It might just be cleanest to to directly email your application responses to CPRES, in which case definitely put in your email COO evaluation mini grant, and ideally include the solicitation number. Danielle asked a question. I understand you are only funding current partners. How do you become a partner with COO? Oh, Danielle. So these are, yeah, the partners were already selected 2 years ago. So in terms of this current funding opportunity, it's basically closed to those currently funded. But should Best Starts levy be renewed in another couple of years, that is an opportunity to become a COO partner. And then there is a hand raised, Gemma Casalco. Do you want to go ahead?
Oh,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay, thanks so much. Hang on, I'll just lower my hand as well. Hi, nice to meet everyone. I jumped in a little bit late, so I really hope you didn't answer this question, and if you did, please let me know. I just pulled up the RFP and everything. So my question was mainly based on the outline of doing the evaluation itself. I see you have the ripple effects mapping, and we do have a monitoring and evaluation team, and then we were also hoping to work with a photographer on this project, and hoping to do, as kind of listed in some of the links as well, a storytelling-based evaluation. I wanted to understand what were the limitations to that, or if there's a bit of flexibility on how we deliver that information, because we would have then qualitative and quantitative data coming from those interviews if we were to do it that way.
Yeah. So Gemma, do you mind my asking what organization or partnership you're coming from?
Yeah, I work with the International Rescue Committee in Washington, more for the Seattle branch. So we work with immigrants and refugees in Washington. And the kind of project model would be working with a photographer and clients that are willing to share their stories and the impacts of them living in Washington, how they've felt at home, and what it feels like now, kind of reintegrating and building community in Washington State.
Yeah, thanks for that intro. I am familiar with IRC, and are you a systems and policy change partner with COO right now? I know that you're funded through other mechanisms with the county, but I wasn't sure. Are you a currently funded COO systems policy change partner?
Good question. Is this grant you were mentioning is limited to just those partners, correct?
Currently, yeah.
Okay, I would have to check again with our other programs because I work for the development team, so it's possible maybe one of our other programs is directly involved with COO, but yeah, that's helpful. So I can double check that, and then that would basically be
Right.
the decision on the
I did
grant.
want to let you know that what you proposed in terms of approaches sounds fantastic, but before you invest too much energy, it would be good for you to just confirm that if you're applying, if it's through a partnership or organization that is a currently funded systems and policy change partner.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I've noted that down. So systems and policy change partner. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Gemma. Jen, solid ground. Will reporting include a detailed financial report? Not a detailed financial report. We do want a budget that outlines what is needed to make this evaluation project happen. So I don't know if that quite answered your question, but we're not looking for something totally intensive. You're more than welcome to do that, but
Okay.
also,
All right, thank you.
it need not be fully detailed.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Just enough for us to get the idea of like, okay, what they're proposing can happen within these budgetary bounds.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so I did just want to reiterate that this current funding opportunity is specifically open to communities of opportunities and systems and policy change partners. And so if you have a question on whether or not you fall under that, email CPress and we will make those confirmations. But we'd love to see you apply, but we also don't want you to put in this effort of applying if this funding opportunity isn't applicable to you right now. I think there may have been some confusions in how, when this was released, who the emails went out to about this opportunity. So just wanted to clarify that currently we are seeking to fund COO systems and policy change folks. And that being said, we are hoping that depending on how much money is left after the end of this current round, being able to open another round with expanded eligibility for COO partners.
I have a question.
Yep.
I'm curious about your use of the term discrete. So I'm just curious about
Yep.
that and like, what do you mean by that? And
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just speak from my own experience as the lead for the COO evaluation. We have a lot of balls in the air when it comes to what we're evaluating for COO. So discrete to me means it's honing in ideally on one specific thing. So I think Debbie had used that example of, we passed a policy and would like to examine this about that policy. That would be discrete to me versus like, we're doing this, all these different things as a part of our work. What we're not looking for is for you to evaluate all those different things. And then just from a time perspective and resource effort perspective, that wouldn't be realistic to do within a year.
Great. All right. Thank you for that clarification. I was imagining it was like some secret project that we're hiding from somebody.
No. Yeah, I didn't mean discreet in terms of we're being polite, although we try to be polite. Do other folks have questions? All right, so I'll just go ahead and close us.